Hi, I'm Chap Bettis, author of The Disciple Making Parent, and this is my audio blog, where I read some of my blog posts in audio format for your convenience. Well, in today's episode, we're going to continue thinking about family devotions, and specifically, we're going to be thinking about 10 suggestions on what to do for family devotions. Well, in the previous article and audio blog, I suggested mixing things up. And that leads right into the question of, well, what do I do? Over the past 18 years, our family and other parents in our church have done all sorts of things, and it depends on the needs and ages of the children. Number one, read a book of the Bible. Sometimes our family would read through a book of the Bible. After reading through a chapter, I might ask them a simple question or two, like, what can we learn about God? Or what can we learn about Jesus or the Holy Spirit? What can we learn about ourselves? As the children grew older, we invested in some paperback Bibles that we kept on a shelf by the table so that everyone was looking at the words together. So, one suggestion is to read a book of the Bible. Number two, memorize a verse. A mealtime is a great time to memorize a verse together as a family. When we decided to do that, I would read the verse aloud several times. Then I would close the Bible and say it out loud. Then it was Mom's turn. Then the oldest on down to the youngest. As the children have grown older, I've started asking them, what is the latest verse that they are memorizing? So one idea is just memorize a verse. You could even post it on the refrigerator for everyone to see. The whole family is learning to memorize a verse. Number three, Proverbs chapter of the day. Well, sometimes we would read the Proverbs chapter of the day. So there are 31 chapters in the book of Proverbs, and that makes it sort of the lazy man's way of doing family devotions. So, for example, today's the 15th. Let's read Proverbs chapter 15 and see what kind of wisdom we can find in there. So, number three, Proverbs chapter of the day. Number four, you might also consider the issue of the day. As our children have grown older, we've continued the tradition of family devotions. However, sometimes the discussion of the day's activities brings out an issue that provides a teaching opportunity. A few simple questions helps set us on the right track. So, for example, you might say, wisdom is seeing things from God's perspective and making proper choices accordingly. What is God's perspective on that issue? What verses should we go to? The great benefit here is that we're letting God address the topic from His Word, and we're modeling the idea that the Bible has the answers to what we're dealing with. It's not just a book to get us into heaven, but it's also a book to help us live a life pleasing to God. So, a fourth thing to do for family devotions is think about the issue of the day. Number five, a Christian testimony. If a Christian guest was joining us, we would regularly ask them to give us their salvation testimony or another spiritual life lesson they had learned. These simple questions showed our respect for our guest and built them into our children's lives and provided a chance for them to hear about God's work today. So another thing you could do for family devotions, if you have a guest, is ask for a Christian testimony. Well, number six, sword drills. If you want to have a crazy time, do a family sword drill. Our family was so competitive that I could not do this too much. You may not know what a sword drill is, but a sword drill is when the leader calls out a verse and all the participants race to see who can get to that verse first. So sometimes we would do Bible drills to a memory verse. I would stagger the beginning times to let the little ones start earlier than the older ones. And we actually had to stop doing this because it got so rambunctious and competitive. But my children look back on it today with great memory. So, number six, you could do a sword drill. Number seven, a discussion of personal devotions. Sometimes we would all read the same thing for personal devotions and talk about it as a family. And that's helpful because the children can ask questions they had during their reading. And it can also be tied in with reading a book of the Bible together. So a seventh thing you can do is to discuss personal devotion. Number eight, a discussion of family Sunday school. Our church has often tried to have the opportunity to have parents and children study the same portion of the Bible. Sometimes that has been in the Sunday school portion of church, and sometimes it has been in a family small group. Family Devotions provides a chance to do our assignment and discuss the Word together. So, number 8, a discussion of family Sunday school. And number 9, reading a book together. At different points, we've read different books together. When the children were young, there were family Bible books, especially for young children. For example, we read the Chronicles of Narnia and Children's Pilgrim's Progress. As the children grew older, we've read different books or even just a chapter of a book, specifically thinking about an issue of the day. So number 9, read a book together. And number 10, apply the message. One very important habit we've tried to inculcate in our family is talking about and applying the Sunday sermon to our lives. So too often families hear teaching on Sunday and then come home and completely dismiss all the work that was done to prepare the sermon. Good questions include, what do you remember from this morning's message? What illustration do you remember? What did God speak to you about? How do you think you're going to apply this morning's message? So number 10, applying the message. And then as an extra one that you might include, a number of families actually do some sort of catechism. A catechism is when you, the parent, ask the question and the children give a memorized answer. So New City Catechism is a wonderful resource for teaching our children a catechism. So number 11, teach our children a catechism. Well, the next time we'll talk about several other practical suggestions. Thank you for listening to the Disciple Making Parent audio blog. This material is found directly in my book, The Disciple Making Parent, and it's the leading resource on family discipleship. It's been endorsed by Al Mohler, Tim Challies, and many other Christian leaders. We are happy to give you the audiobook for free. Simply visit thedisciplemakingparent.com/free audiobook. That's thedisciplemakingparent.com/free audiobook. Thanks for listening.